What is up, guys? Happy Wednesday. You've made it this far, man. Guys, we miss you so much. In 1 Corinthians chapter 3, we see a letter to the church and leaders. In 1 Corinthians 3, verse 11, it says, "For no one can lay any foundation other than the one already laid, which is Jesus Christ. If anyone builds on this foundation using gold, silver, costly stones, wood, hay, or straw, their work will be shown for what it is, because the day will bring it to light. It will be revealed with fire, and the fire will test the quality of each person's work." Now, what we see in this chapter is we see a letter calling out the church and its leaders. It's saying, guys, we have to be fully devoted Christians. We can't just be halfway relying on some of the foundation of our lives in worldly things. It says the only foundation that stands strong is Jesus Christ. Now, by itself, a brick is not much at all. Really, I could step over this and get over it. But with a bunch of bricks are placed together, it makes a wall that nobody else can get through. It can make an entire house, an entire building, whatever. But if it's not on a good foundation, what happens is it begins to settle into the earth. Maybe there's a rainfall. Maybe there's a storm that will shake the foundation. If it does not have a strong foundation, it falls apart. So there's two elements to this. There is the brick, which I believe represents us. Now what happens is one of those bricks pulls away, it's gonna fall apart. So our role is important. Where God has placed us in the wall is important. Where God has placed us is specific to our lives. So what happens a lot of times in our lives, we begin to compare. I know I do this all the time. I see somebody else on social media. I'm like, man, I wish I was tall as them. I wish I was cool as them. I wish I had the clothes that they had. And I begin to compare. And next thing you know, I want to move my placement. I want to move where God put me. But that's not the plan that God has. When we simply rest in the place that God has put us, that is where we will best serve. When we put all of our talents into the place that God has put us, we succeed more than we ever could on our own. So we don't have to compare to anybody else. We simply just rest in where God has put us and make a strong foundation there. Now, the second thing that comes into play is the foundation. You could build an amazing house, you could build a mansion, you could build the best and strongest wall ever. But if it was not on a good foundation, it would crumble and fall. And so, what is our foundation? We see in that scripture, it tells us our foundation is Jesus Christ alone. When we try to build our foundation and our life and our building on maybe our social status, or maybe even our friends and family, when we try to build it on things that don't last, what happens is it falls and it doesn't last. See, we see even in that scripture, it says that when the fire comes, the things built on Jesus will last. When we build our things on worldly things that won't last, it simply falls away. When we build on Jesus, when the storms come, when the fire comes, it stays strong. So I want to encourage you today, make sure your foundation is Jesus Christ. And then serve where you're placed. Where God puts you, don't look at anybody else's placement. Don't look at where they've been put, but simply rest in where God has placed you. We love you guys. Stay safe out there. We can't wait to see you soon.